How do you create a meaningful relationship? I get this question all the time, and so I thought I'd record a quick video and explain to you how to do this. My name, by the way, is Dr. Genev Cadell of mybestrelationship.com. So how do you create a meaningful relationship? Your first step is to recognize that we are social mammals who are wired to connect. That's right, it's only natural for us to be in relationship with other people. Without that, right, without being in relationship with other people, we die. It's part of who we are. We are wired to connect. And as Homo sapiens, right, as humans, we make meaning out of everything. So just recognize that it's natural, right, to create meaningful relationships. It's what we do, okay? That makes it a little bit more simple, right? But the second thing to recognize while we're driving this point home that we're actually interdependent as a species is to recognize that we have these needs that we can't meet by ourselves, right? We have emotional needs that can only be met by other people. I said it, right? Does that make me some kind of codependent, I don't know, no, right? There's more and more research that backs this up, okay? So thanks to, revolutionary research in psychology and neuroscience, thanks to leaders in the field like Dr. Sue Johnson, Dr. Daniel Siegel, we're seeing more and more about how interdependent we actually are. We literally have neurons in the front of our brains that exist to connect with other people, right? So when we can just acknowledge these needs, that we have them, and stop denying them and stop trying to brush them under the rug and just be open and honest about them, they're a lot more likely to get met, and we're a lot more likely to create those meaningful relationships. Now, the way of doing this is by getting really emotionally honest with yourself. Now, sometimes that can be hard, especially, again, if we live in a culture where emotions are kind of looked at as the sort of lesser, less sophisticated part of our experience. Well, there's nothing truthful about that. Emotions are extremely sophisticated, and they are the language of relationships. So we have to get really emotionally honest with ourselves and with our partners, right? Now, here's the other piece. I know this all sounds well and good and simple. We're, naturally inclined to be in meaningful relationships and, just be honest and just, all that. It can be really difficult because we learn how to be in relationships through our experience. And for many people, our experiences in relationships haven't necessarily been positive, right? It was once believed that, if you had a bad history with your parents or, people who brought you up, if maybe there was abuse or neglect or trauma of some kind, or even just, not ideal parenting, that you would be screwed in terms of, your future in relationships. You would be doomed to a life of negative, unhealthy relationship, toxic relationship after another and another and another. But again, the good news is that we are wired for love. We are wired to connect, and we just, suck up love like plants suck up sunlight, okay? So it's natural for us to grow toward love, even if it means overcoming certain obstacles, uprooting certain patterns, challenging old ways of being in relationships, even if those are all we've known, right? If you're watching this and you feel like maybe you've had a history of bad relationships, you know that something's missing, that you could get more love. I don't know if that sounds the best thing, but what I mean by that is, that on some level in your bones, right, that a healthy relationship is possible for you. And I'm here to tell you it absolutely is, right? But to create that meaningful relationship, if you've had a history of bad relationships, you've got to get really honest about what those blocks, what those patterns, what those pitfalls might be. And sometimes that's hard to do on your own because you have to actually take a good hard look at yourself. And like Einstein once said, a fish doesn't recognize the water in which he swims, right? So what would be very necessary then is to take a good honest look at yourself, your pitfalls, your patterns, what kinds of things you're attracted to that hasn't been working for you, and reassess, right? And challenge yourself and take risks and be vulnerable. I know it's a lot easier said than done. But with the recognition underlying all this is that we are wired to connect, right? We grow toward love. There's so much hope that you can do this as well. I want you to know that. And that when you can be emotionally honest with yourself and with your partner, present or future, you're going to be in a lot better shape to create that meaningful relationship. That's actually necessary to create that meaningful relationship. So you don't need a boob job, you don't need a facelift, you don't even need to go to years of therapy to figure out, what you can do to change yourself. I'm saying you don't want to change yourself. You want to become more of yourself, show up more of yourself. Bring more of your truth, your emotional truth, and your inner unique beauty and wisdom and self that only you have, because that's what your partner, present or future, truly needs. And that will also, open the door for that person to do that as well if they're not already doing so. So I hope this is helpful. How do you create a meaningful relationship? Recognize that we are social animals. We are wired to connect. We are meaning-making individuals. And we grow toward love, right? This is natural for us to create these meaningful relationships. 2, recognize we have these emotional needs that can only be met by other people, so let's get really emotionally honest and real about them. And 3, recognize your own personal pitfalls and patterns in love that may be self-sabotaging and that may be preventing you from creating that meaningful relationship. When you can do these things and really show up truly, fully, honestly, wholly as yourself, or even, let parts of yourself in, right? You're going to be gold for creating a meaningful relationship. So I hope this has been helpful. Let me know if you have feedback, question, comments. If you agree, disagree, I want to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. I will catch you guys soon. Bye.